analysis. So in my previous video, I went over the inverse correlation between Bitcoin and the US dollar. And I will briefly touch into this before moving on to more important aspects of the price. But back to the US, this is the US dollar index. And as you can see, the prices keep going lower. And this blue line is the weekly EMA 21. I'm on the weekly chart, and anytime the prices remain lower than the blue line, then we know we're in a bear market. So we were at this red candle at 89 when I made my previous video, and it seems like it's moved up a little bit to 90.6. However, I did want to mention that this is not something that um, is good for to look at for in a small time frames. It's good to have a good idea about this and about the inverse correlation between Bitcoin and US dollar on a big picture, but it's not as effective if you say, okay, well, this has gone up, so Bitcoin is going to go down the same day. So it's not to the T. This is just a good knowledge to have as a big picture only. So back to the Bitcoin chart, we're at the weekly chart, and we see that the EMA 21, the blue line, is sitting at $22 approximately, and the prices have taken off since September, October of last year, 2020, and gone on a marathon run, leaving the EMA 21 way below. And this is very common in bull market. So going back to 2017 bull market, we can see why this is so important. This blue line is so important. Here, as we see, this was January 2017. We had a touch on the EMA 21. Then 2 months later, in March, we had touch here too. Again in July, 4 months later, it came and touched it again, and then in September, couple of months later, it came back to it again. And as you can see, this wick, it's unbelievable how much at till then the buying pressure had heated up so much, the market had heated up so much. This buying pressure right here, this wick, is just as soon as it touched it, the buying pressure pushed it up right away. So you can see that right here. And so going back to today, and before that, I'll also want to show you something that happened in the bull market of 2013. In 2013 bull market, it was, not as the progression was not as uniform as in the bull market of 2017. It's definitely more. The prices in 2013 were also lower, so definitely more volatile. But there you see went right up to $269, and the EMA was only at $60. So that is like 4 or 5 times, and then it dropped back to it, stayed kind of close to it, and then left it and never looked back. But hopefully the market is less volatile now, and I'm hoping the progression would be more similar to the 2017 bull run than the 2013 bull run. So now going back to today's chart, what we're going to do is move to the daily and analyze this even more. So now I'm on the daily chart, and for Bitcoin to come down to 22,000 on the weekly and touch the blue line on the weekly, it will first have to break the blue line on the daily, which is at $34,000. So that's first. And like I said, these moves take time because, as you can see, it reached 42,000 in around January 7, and then it took it 20 days to come down yesterday to $29,000, and it moved up right away. But as it moved up, this candle crossed it went through the blue line, but this candle, however, so this blue line is at $34,000. This candle printed under the blue line. This is very bearish, I would say, because even though there was a green candle right away, being a candle printed absolutely up below the blue line is definitely bearish. So this, we have to make sure now this blue line, which was acting as support all the way from September, where it moved from $13,000 to $40,000. Now, once these candles confirm and we can see another hopefully candle printed below the blue line, we know that we have broken this blue line, and now this blue line, which was support during the past 6 months, will then has now turned into a resistance. So now this will act as a resistance where if Bitcoin cannot crack and go over 34,000 and make a full candle above it, it's most likely will go at lower prices. And then once this is the first step, if it has to, land on the weekly 221 EMA, this would be the first step. So once it can come lower, maybe, anything lower than $34,000 now, since that is the resistance as I showed you in the daily. And now, you know, even though it's moved back to 33,000, but these moves can take some time, but I'm hoping that it can come back and test this blue line now. Is better sooner than later, because if it goes higher and higher, and then the drop will just be more drastic. So it's looking good. This would be really good for a uniform progression of Bitcoin like for this bull run, just like it did in the 2017 bull run. However, by the way, this is not a financial advice, and I'm not no financial advisor to anyone. Hopefully, this helped, and I will come back and see how